A Venatori traitor?
Intrigue beckons, surely.
Something's up with the crows and Venatori. The journal belongs to a crow named Chance.
Oh my god,
We'll look
what
for
the
them around
heck?
the diamond. Maybe they know
What
what
is-
this is about.
Move! Quickly! Get clear!
Yeah. Is that a red lyrium darkspawn ogre? Oh my god.
Get out of there! On the job.
Oh.
Rook!
Oh my god. Emmerich, watch out, dude. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I'm using fire against a fire guy. Oh my god.
Hold on!
It's around the freaking corner. No way.
Must move!
Whoa. Maybe if I
Get
go up these
clear.
stairs here. Hit him with the thing.
Of course! Hold on!
Okay. See, it's a good thing we have Emmerich with us, because we can... Okay, alright. I was gonna say...
Get out of there! Get back!
I am not doing that much damage to this guy. I think we might have to run.
Ready again!
Maybe... Maybe using Arcane Bomb makes it worth using the dagger.
Must get clear!
That was a conveniently timed heal. Oh my god. Am I about to die? I might be.
Rook, move! Get back!
3 seconds.
Ready and waiting!
finally got his armor off, at least.
Get out of there.
My God. At least we're lighting him on fire. Gotta be worth something, right?
Ready and willing.
I'm doing this like a Dark Souls boss almost.
Now's your chance.
That did nothing to him.
Run quickly. Get clear. They're all yours.
Okay, alright, yeah. Sure, no.
Understood.
One more second.
Say the word. Run.
Thanks, Connors.
Anytime. I'm at the ready.
We're wearing him down.
Get clear.
Oh, okay, alright. Yep, the tracking on that is still pretty impressive. But that's okay, we've got Emmerich. We brought two
Thank you,
healers with
Emmerich.
us. So we're gonna need them both.
Hold on.
Yeah, the arcane bomb ability is actually doing a lot of the work for us here. Yeah, okay. It turns out fire's still pretty good into him, I think. Because we've got abilities that burn pretty well. Good. One more thing hits us and we're done.
At the ready. Get out of there.
This will make me immune, right? Yeah, that gives me iframes. That's good.
Get clear. On it.
Clearing the way, one champion at a time.
Yo, that was crazy.
Ah, well done.
What a tough boss. Champion essence.
More essence.
What does it do? Get out of here, Blight. Sacks. Gross. Disgusting. This wasn't even the quest we were here for. We just incidentally encountered a really hard boss in the open world. We were not ready to fight that guy, so That was just the product of good strategy, good
As a
planning, and
spirit
good
mage,
work.
Emmerich, you must sense spite.
I'm sorry that you two came together under such unjust circumstances. Mm-hmm. Ah. Ah. My sympathies.
You can hear spite, even when he doesn't take me over?
This close, yes.
I am so sorry.
So they are kind of a good pair, after all. That's cute.
Hello? Are you all right?
Then the brutes left to get more reinforcements against a single woman.
Oh, I can break it. Nice.
Done.
I'll unlock the door. Come in, please.
Ireland is actually quite all right, all things considered. Yeah, I've been, and it was good. But I think it's, you know, being able to be
My saviors, welcome.
Viago said you had information on the Antam. Are they after you?
They barricaded me in and said I would starve unless I handed over the contents of my gallery. Lately, they've been taking paintings, sculptures, all sorts of treasures. And to think I overheard someone in the market yesterday bragging about dealing with the atrocious brutes. The market master might know more about what those dreadful Antam are up to.
because you freed her, Mistress Trilla is happy to sell you her wares. Nice. Something I like about this game is that it, like, when you get something or when you make a decision that has consequences, it will tell you which action you took that resulted in that outcome, which, like, helps you plan future playthroughs without needing to look up guides, which I think is interesting.
I'm in your debt. Please look around.
Okay. Golden Lion. Okay, well, let's get the mementos at least. This will be useful for the
I
caretaker.
hope dear Viago can
Level
make
up our
next week's
items.
exhibition.
I like actually getting something out of the items you break. That's novel. Is that Sims VA? I can't tell with the accent difference. That, I think there might be 3 Overwatch voice actors in this game. It does kind of sound like Symmetra, right? Damn.
Finished.
Hey, wait a minute. I just heard it there.
Okay, let's look around for that stolen art, or any sign of what the Antam are doing with it.
Listen to Lucanus's voice the next time he talks here.
Nothing here either.
Strange. You'd think a few statues would stand out.
No, he's different. I thought he sounded like a little bit like, in some of those line reads, I thought he sounded a bit like Baron Zeppeli from Phantom Blood, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1. In one of those lines where he's like, "This cannot be right," it sounded kind of like the line read that Joe Achman did for
Still nothing. I don't see anything that merchant in the
the
market
scene where
was
Baron
talking about.
Zeppeli dies, where
Those
he's like,
stolen
"In the
art.
fiend name
We should
is
go back and
tonight's
talk
the
to him.
night that I go to my grave." What a hard character, dude. That is, I think, Baron Zeppeli's death, especially the outro, where it like teases that he's about to die. That's one of my favorite character deaths in anything, genuinely. It's amazing how hard that scene goes, especially the outro on the prior episode. Yeah, I get so emotional talking about it. The outro on the episode before the episode where he dies, where he's about to walk into the room, and he notices the circumstance that he's in, and he realizes that
is
it's
this
the
what you
exact
call
circumstance that
acting
he
or
was
the
told by the fortune teller that he would die in. It's so good, dude. Him and it's funny because like I think all of my favorite character deaths in JoJo's are all Zeppelis, but him and Caesar are it's so good. I genuinely cry
That
every time
merchant
Caesar
who
dies.
said the Antom stole his artwork.
It's so
He's with
sad.
the Venatori. I'll bet he caught us listening in.
And the
So, he
Italian
got rid of
opera
us
music
with a
in the
fake
background
story
really
about being
makes it.
robbed?
The note said the Antom are trading the art to Venatori collectors. Okay, we're close to the camp where Antom are trading with the Venatori for magical components.
I think my favorite JoJo's deaths.
Those snoops from the market.
I think my favorite JoJo's death is still Kakyoin. I thought about it for a second. I thought about it for a second. I was like, do I like some of the early parts more in that regard? But no, it's still Kakyoin. Kakyoin's
All
makes
right,
me sad because
let's find out what the
I
Antom and
wanted
the
to see more
Venatori
from
are
him.
actually doing.
Kakyoin's
here.
makes me sad because he's so young. It's kind of like Narancia's death, where he had so much of his life ahead of him. But it's also holy shit, I'm actually tearing up. I'm like laughing because it's so silly, but it's so sad, dude. It's so sad. When Kakyoin dies and he fails to call on his Hierophant Green, and he like I can't even talk. The thing that like spurs him into action, the thing that gives him the strength to act, is that it's that Joseph is in danger. You know, and something really subtle that I love about Kakyoin's character is that he's one of the characters who always, especially in the Japanese original voice acting, but also in the English one they preserved this.
This note is about Gatlock.
Small cat, you're gonna make me cry.
Powder.
It's so
The
sad.
Antom are using magical components from the Venatori
something
to
that I
make it
like
more
about Kakyoin's
explosive.
character is the way
Much
that
more explosive.
We've got to stop them.
he
Gatlock
so
is already
clearly is
dangerous
like
enough.
thinking about other
We must
people
go
in
to
that
Andiamo
moment.
with this as soon as
And I
possible.
love the way that he
Agreed.
respects Joseph. He's got like this like just enduring respect. Like Jotaro calls in the original Japanese, he calls Joseph old man. And they translate that to like Gramps, which is like basically 1-to-1. It's like kind of the same deal.
demon of Virantium, huh? And they called you that
But
before.
Kakyoin always calls him Joestar-san or Mr.
You don't
Joestar.
have that enchanted barbed arrow in your
And
quiver because you think
it's really
pretty.
sweet that he like clearly
It is,
admires
though,
him a lot.
Isn't it? The red shimmer is the enfeebling magic, and the spike tip is designed to splinter in.
Yeah, he feels bad for scaring his
Good
mother
news?
and
The
the fact that
Venatori
his
are
parents are
helping the
never going to know
Antom
what
make the
happened to
Gatlock
him.
explosives
I
even
think
more
that's the
powerful.
thing that makes it really
What?
sad too.
It's not ready yet. They're still experimenting.
Then we have some
I
time.
think the other death
The
that really
crows
gets
will
me in part 3
investigate.
is Iggy.
We had better.
That one kills
I am
me.
sure we'd be among the Antom's first targets.
Iggy dying is so sad, dude. It's genuinely so sad. I like the narration for his death. Because it proves he was a person, you know? And I think that that's what makes him really special. That's also what makes Vanilla Ice probably like the most evil villain, more so than Dio, because he clearly has no regard for Iggy whatsoever. Hello, boat.
Onward, dweller.
Yeah, but so the November patron video that's up right now is about the open world design of Dragon Age Inquisition, and the next 5 after that also use some footage from that Inquisition playthrough, but only 3 of them are about things from the game. The December one's about femme and about like transgender representation in Dragon Age. The January one's about Dorian and gay representation in Dragon Age, and the one in April is going to be about one of the themes of the game. I haven't written that one yet,
Onward.
so it's still an early concept. And then the two in between that are probably going to be like about the Dragon Age books, because I've been also working through the Dragon Age book series and talking about those on Patreon. With great apologies to the people who support me and the work that I do, because frankly, you're probably all sick of talking and hearing about Dragon Age, but I'm not. So the fact that 18 months in a row we'll have Dragon Age content on Patreon, you know what? I'm just going to be a BioWare person for a while. The 18 months after that will also probably be Mass Effect content. People are going to be so mad at me, dude. But like, hey, you know, you get what you paid for, right? It's the goal. And eventually those will be public for people who can't afford. Like at the earliest, some of them will be just like barely 11 months out. Get a little potion here. A little heal.
Nice, Rook.
It'll between like 11 and 13 months is like the general window of when a Patreon video will become public. Some of them never will. Some of them will always be Patreon exclusive. But because I know that, like, you know, a lot of the people who support me are like artists or like writers, or, you know, they're also like left wing, so they don't, you know, they like to give charitably to causes, or they, you know, they have other things that they support and other creators they want to support. I just kind of feel like, you know, I do eventually want to make a lot of my stuff publicly available, but I also have to balance that with wanting to provide something unique and rewarding to the people who want to go out of their way to support me. So, half and half, you know. I know some creators like do early access stuff, and that's how they kind of reward patrons, and that's kind of what I do with a portion of the content that I put up there. There's like 5 or 6 videos on there, though, that are just never going to be public, because I don't think they would work as public channel content. And eventually there will be more like that as well. Stuff that I just think is like too esoteric or too weird, or, you know, just like would not work for some other reason. Probably good. Probably good to get started. Whoa. Reward. I did a little offline workshopping of our build, so.
Wait, what happened? This doesn't feel like the Fade. More like a dream, or
a memory.
Glad you made it here safely. I didn't love our odds without you.
who? Me?
All right. Everything's in place. We hit Algernon's island fortress tonight. This is our best chance to free the people he's enslaved. Get in, save as many as you can, and bring them back here to Sanctuary. Be fast and be safe. I'll meet you on the other side. Fen-Haral scouting ahead. For freedom! For the Dread Wolf!
Huh. Oh, okay.
So, the Dread Wolf is testing his noble rebels against my stronghold. How courageous.
Algernon sent his guards to attack the Dread Wolf's rebels.
Can't have anyone standing up to him in public.
those memories can hurt you. Yeah, that's how trauma works. My thoughts
You
exactly.
persist for naught. The people under my rule are not yours to plunder.
More guards.
Whoa.
Alganon's forces are making things interesting.
You, keep moving no matter what. Free those slaves. We'll take everyone else and give the guards something to think about.
We must be swift. Alganon is coming.
Oh, that's Solas with
Solas
hair.
sounded frightened.
No wonder this is such a potent memory.
Go to your new home.
Thank you. Thank you all.
There's an alluvion nearby. We'll head there right away.
Go. The Dreadwolf must be waiting for you.
Got him.
There will be a reckoning for this Solas, no matter how far you run.
Let the big asshole rant. Everyone we freed is safe in the crossroads.
Without all of you, well, thank you. But can Alganon find us here?
He cannot. I have made sure of...
Solas?
Alganon is a powerful opponent. My apologies. It is of no consequence.
He was injured.
What matters, my friends, is that today, all of us are free.
I think that's it. The memory ends here.
Solas actually did some good back in the day, freeing those people.
One can't help but wonder where he changed.
That is an electricity.
Emmerich, I think you have to let Manfred learn some things on his own.
Such as?
You know, like any kid. Let them fall, scrape their knee.
That could dislodge his patella bone, hinder his ambulation.
Or he might learn to walk and not fall next time.
That's a harsh thing to wish on a spirit who yearns only to experience the world.
Falling down's a big part of the world.
Manfred's body is an intricate construction. There's no need to bruise it or him unnecessarily.
How has my experience been with the game so far? I've heard so many conflicting things about it. Well, you have come to the right place, haven't you? As you know, a big Dragon Age head. I used to be more of a Mass Effect person, but I liked Dragon Age Inquisition a lot, and I just thought Mass Effect Andromeda was okay. I didn't think it was as bad as most other people thought it was because I didn't play the release version, which was really buggy. I played the
This cannot be the
like
last
much
one.
later
We
version.
need another to unlock that door.
Right. Let's look around.
Which I also got for a lot cheaper, you know. So I always feel like, as far as like recommending like purchases goes, only you know how much money you have and whether you'll be happy having spent it on something. And the best way to know that is always like in advance, you know. Just think about like, is this something I can reasonably? Is this an amount of money I can spend on something reasonably without like caring, right? Because even if you like something, if buying it puts you in the red, you won't be happy. You'll be unhappy, actually. So, you know, I don't do like product reviews, but that would be like my review of every product ever. Is like literally only you can. But that said, as far as the game itself as a work of art, as far as the game as a Dragon Age game, and a BioWare game, I think it's great. I think this game really has something going for it
At
that
last,
I
with
think
some
not a
out this
lot of
door.
other games out there right
Let's
now
take a look.
have. But the thing that has perplexed me the most is that I think one of its greatest strengths, the writing, in particular the character writing, is something that people seem to like the least.
Sealed tight.
Stand back. Are you Venatori? Are the sniffing rats? What fall have you all? This vault's riches are mine. I tore them from the dead, and with me, they will remain.
It's a demon.
And a powerful one, to have been kept behind such ancient locks instead of simply banished.
Let's search around. Maybe the Venatori knew something.
I love the art style in this game, and I cannot believe so many people hated it. I wish they would give Dragon Age the Legendary Edition treatment. Yeah, they've talked about that. I saw an interview where a developer was asked that question about whether they would ever do like Dragon Age Legendary Edition like they did for Mass Effect. And I think part of the problem is that like some of those Dragon Age games were built on like were like made at very different times on like different engines and stuff is like how they were kind of getting it across. I said something about like I wish that like the story was like less streamlined and like you could play more and like explore more. And then I even said later on in that same stream something like, oh, but I'm gonna still try to go out of my way to explore because like, you know, feel like a bad faith criticism to say like, oh, the game doesn't let you do this, and then to like choose not to do that.
Demands we attack.
That would be no.
Match your strength with mine. More.
So, I'm not a fan of like critics who act like that. So I won't be acting like that. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Get clear. Made of pay in blood.
But while that may be true, I did have another thought about that, which is that once you reach the point in the game where you're choosing between Reviso and Rammus, once you hit that choice, and I won't add any more context. Go back and watch that when it was up on the channel. Which I guess if that's how they're watching this, then that'll just be how they know. But when you watch that, when you play through that mission, something that happens is the game after that opens up to you a lot more very slowly, and you start to get like the last companions.
Well struck, Rook.
And it's like after you get the last.
It's like the Venatori planned on taking a few things with them.
The villains.
And it's basically exactly what I had said that I thought that the game should be, and I'm very pleased with that. Always nice to say this game would really benefit from like XYZ, and to then have it turn out that was in store all along. You know, that definitely feels good. I will say, for my part, I kind of feel like Dragon Age Inquisition bit the bullet a little bit in that it like makes you do the tutorial, but then you are effectively just out in the open world, and you have to steer yourself a lot. Whereas Origins, it's like there's kind of like one tutorial because you do your origin background, and then there's like the beginning of the game, kind of like beginning mission, quote unquote tutorial. And then you like start to pick up companions and get a party, and then the game kind of actually gets rolling. Like around the time that you leave Flemeth's hut and go to Lothering, I would say, like that's when it like opens up and you can start to make decisions. But yeah, it's this game is a little like that in that you kind of have to do a little bit. You gotta actually do more than one mission before you reach the point where you are allowed to just like kind of freely feel like you're exploring with the full context of the story. Because otherwise, like I think you can theoretically like go early on to a couple of the areas you've already seen. But what you really want to do is you want to have something to do in those areas. And that happens when you start picking up companion quests and faction quests, which you will start getting when you hit the point in the story when you have all the companions and you've been introduced to all the factions. So it's a little bit on rails from the beginning. It's kind of like
At them.
Playing through like a more limited kind of structure, so that you can get to the point where you're doing like the Dragon Age Origins thing, where you're going back and forth between different areas to kind of experience the different conflicts that are in those areas. That's like how all right.
Help.
Okay, hang on. Hit him with the cannons.
On the job. Stay in cover. Good work.
Gotcha. And we level up there. How long is the first game? Similar to a Mass Effect game?
Excellent. All safe?
So like Dragon Age, you know how in Mass Effect you can kinda like blitz through it and like avoid a lot of the companion content? Dragon Age Origins, it's a lot easier to do that, but it also feels like it's a lot easier to be under-leveled for something. So like, in a weird way, it, like yes and no. You know, like I'd say like it's kind of shorter and kind of a lot longer, and it kind of just depends on how you do what you do.
Rook, welcome to the Hossberg wetlands. I'd say make yourself comfortable.
This place is
foreboding.
Yes. Well, foreboding is normal here, but it's worse than usual.
The Blight's always a problem in the Anderfels. It's not strange to find a corrupted patch of forest or swamp.
What is strange is the sudden surge of blight through the Hossberg wetlands. Much like the village you found, the blight here struck too quickly, and in strange forms.
It's choked the whole area, and the local village, Lavendel, was caught in it. But they're survivors. We can be grateful for that.
If the blight keeps spreading, we could lose everything.
You said what came next would be bad. That's why we're here. To help. As far as we can tell, the gods you're chasing weren't here directly.
If the Blight's really changed, then the changes are widespread. As for how much?
I can almost sense something in there. Another sound under the Blight's usual song.
Stories say wardens sense blight. I never thought it was literal.
It happens when you join the Order. But that's more than I should say.
When we met, you tried to block the sound out. Now you hear too much.
If it helps, that's what we're here for.
Should I be worried?
About me? No. About the Blight? Yes. But you already are.
We heard rumors of the surge here and volunteered to investigate. The first warden expects a report. Soon.
If we want proof the Blight's changed, then this place is where to find it.
But the way the Blight left the village, we've had our hands full just keeping it back and helping the sick.
You need more to study.
Yes. The odd growths the Blight has formed, like boils, they surround Lavendel. I need more samples.
Gross.
Samples. That's going to be gross. That's probably the best word for it.
I'll give you something to contain the Blight. And watch for Darkspawn out there.
Right. Darkspawn. Can't forget them.
Good luck.
I don't like those things. Those weird, funky, leathery things. I don't like them. They don't make me happy. The thing I was gonna say earlier is someone was like talking in chat about like reception of the game and everything. And the thing I wanted to say is like I heard people say a lot of stuff about the game. It's a crazy movie. It is just like kind of not true upon reflection, or at least was like shading in like half truths.
The gods sent another of their champions here. I don't have to see to kill you!
I don't have to see. Oh, nobody can see.
Certainly. Look, over there. Masterfully done,
No way. In the middle of my spell cast, he jumped right at me. Bro flew straight at me. He hit me with the elbow drop. There's something anti-human about the politics space where you need to be perfectly perfect all the time or else you'll be attacked. Yeah, like, okay, I was talking to some people about purity politics, and because I know some kind of like more, like they're obviously lefty-ish, but more like liberal also, like not strictly like Marxist or communist or anything. But you know, like good people with pretty good impulses. You know, nothing really wrong with them. They're just not necessarily politically activated in the same way as some of us, and or they are, but it's more recent, or only around certain things. And I think you just have to like learn to live with people like that. Like you're not always gonna agree with people. It's just that like my preferential disagreements are like, you know, about stuff that isn't to do with whether or not I should be humanized as a person, right? Like I've lived the experience of people like where that's their disagreement, and so on the whole, I'm relatively tolerant of people who are like, yeah, I'm just not sure about like some of this like left-wing stuff. It's like it's all right. It's okay to not be sure. You know, we gotta make a little room for that. Gotta make a little elbow room for people who are maybe not all in on everything that I'm all in on, right? But also, like one of the things one of them was saying to me was about like purity testing and purity politics and stuff, and I wasn't sure what he meant at first, but then I kind of got where he was coming from. And I think there are versions of that, right? Like the thing about purity testing is that I'm hearing it all the time now, And a lot of the time, gotta be honest, a lot of the time when like liberal people talk about left-wingers like purity testing, it's because the leftist is more left-wing than they are. And, you know, as the phrase sort of reveals, there's a moral high ground involved in being more left than somebody else, right? Because like nobody talks about impurity testing. Nobody's ever when it's, you know, when somebody says, I just don't think socialism will work, that's never purity testing. It's always purity testing when somebody says, hey, I don't think liberalism will work and I really think you should be a socialist. That's when purity testing starts being the critique. That wasn't how he meant it though. And one of the things that he was talking about, and I'm gonna get it wrong if I try to recite what he was saying, but it had a lot more to do with like the social inclinations of some of the left-wing politics spaces, which I think is dead on, right? But I've been trying to like make space in my head to hold both of those thoughts because it's tough. Like sometimes people will be like, oh, I hate all this left-wing purity testing, by which I mean I think that like Bernie bros are why Hillary lost. I got one of those people in my replies on Blue Sky the other, like a genuine Hillary Clinton stan, like a somebody who posts nothing but pro-Hillary stuff. That's got to be like, that person's getting paid, right? I mean, not necessarily, but it felt very much like, and we do know that like sometimes Democrats and will, like, I know that the Democratic Party does funnel some money to posters, not as much as the other way around, obvious. But I have seen some receipts for that before, and also we know that sometimes the Russian disinfo stuff isn't just people spreading right-wing talking points. Sometimes they're spreading left-wing or liberal ones, but they do it using misinformation in a certain way. And it's to confuse people and to turn them against each other, basically. Even when you are perfect, they'll find some flaws against you. Yeah, absolutely. The Panopticon, you're always watch for the slightest flaw. Yeah. I can't imagine having that type of engagement in this year, 2024. It's crazy, right? Isn't it wild? It feels wild to me. Like, that person, first of all, they said that I was low IQ. They were describing leftists in general. They didn't specifically say you, but like they were posting and responded to me and described leftist in general, obviously including me. They said we were low IQ and funded by Arabs, which, like, by the way, this was a white person who said this to me. I was like, okay, so the purity testing you're talking about is people who are not with your racism, right? And I'm not convinced this was a real woman. This might just be a fake person, just maybe not a bot, but like a propaganda account or whatever. Not a bot in the sense of not automated, but like a bot in the sense that they're like like meant to agitate and propagandize. I'm not entirely convinced this was a real person. So I just screenshotted and blocked and moved on basically after that engagement. But I did think it was very interesting because, like, one of the things that she complained about, assuming this is a real person, one of the things she complained about was like, Bernie Sanders isn't even a real Democrat, and his supporters aren't even real Democrats. I've voted Democrat my whole life, you know. I voted for and knocked doors for the Sanders campaign. Voted for both times, knocked doors just the second time. I think I was like busy with school. The second time was like after I got out of the hospital, and I was still in like the continuing care program, so I didn't have a lot of time, but I did do a little bit. And in part because I wanted to get the temperature of what the social situation was like at the time. Median voters are very interesting. Median voters, I guess like just voters in general. My two favorite interactions, if I could like just summarize two from when I was knocking doors, was one person, he was this, I think we technically knocked there for his daughter, but she lived with him and he was her father, and he was a first generation immigrant, I believe from Mexico, I don't recall exactly, I believe from Mexico, or he came over the Mexican border. I can't remember what his exact story was. Obviously this was back in 2020, so it's been years, but one of the things that he did was he like gave us an impromptu civics test, and I got some of the questions wrong that he knew, which just goes to show you like a lot of that horse shit about like immigrants and not sharing our values is complete baloney. Like, this dude was up on his civics. He knew his U.S. government stuff. And like a lot of the questions were like not really important to the day-to-day life of Americans, which is also why it's kind of weird that like you have to know them to become a U.S. citizen in some cases. But whatever, you know, I appreciate that people should know these things. I knew them once as well, and I had simply forgotten. I remember doing relatively well on my U.S. Constitution test, where we got tested on a lot of that stuff when I was in high school. But I mean, at the time that this was happening, that would have been like 10 years beforehand, right? So he was a funny guy. He had a lot of energy. He made me smile, and he was perfectly happy to answer a door to white people who were trying to get him to vote and to flex his muscles. Because he had to know that. He had to know that stuff, and he had some pride in the fact that he had worked to know it. And in and of itself, nothing wrong with that. And the other one that I remember was there was this lesbian couple who said that they were voting for Elizabeth Warren. And we had a perfectly fine conversation, very nice people. And I asked them, you know, because you want to be gentle with people and you want to try to be helpful. And I said, oh, like, what draws you to Warren? And the two of them were like, well, you know, we just like that she has plans. And I'm like, if you followed me on the internet back then, you know that I tweeted a lot about that idea and about that rhetoric, because it was pure rhetoric. It was just pure political rhetoric. Like, every politician has plans. It's called having a platform for your campaign. I guess I shouldn't say every politician. There's one guy I can think of who did not have a lot of plans, or at least you know, sometimes he kind of did have plans, but they kind of was not disclosing them. But notably, like, Sanders had a healthcare plan, a healthcare proposal before Warren did. So like it was also just not true in some cases. Like sometimes she really did not have plans. But like the rhetoric was, she has a plan for that. So people just kind of went with that. Nice people, definitely low information voters. And you know, the Bernie presidency was not to be, as it's, but you know, I have concepts of a plan. Yeah, right. I mean, I guess I mean, I definitely vote Warren over Trump. I mean, good Lord, right? Oh my gosh, I should get coasters so these don't clang so much. I've noticed that the mic picks it up a lot. It's like,
Antoine.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
That's loud and distracting.
They're like nothing we've seen, or anything in the Warden records. And I almost hear voices in it. The gods calling the blight.
Oh, that's what the calling is.
But if you believe me...
We knew things were bad. But if the blight's being called, the situation's more unpredictable than we thought. We need to...
I give you two reign, and this is where
this guy.
Chasing
I
Rook's
remember him.
lies.
First Warden...
Stay away from the blight and the wardens. How many times must you be told?
Well, this is just the second time.
Until you listen, I'll be here.
Not helping. Rook knew something was wrong.
I can hear it in the samples. The gods. She's telling the truth. The blight has changed. And that changes everything.
It changes nothing. Your sensitivity to blight is useful, Warden Antoine. But you've had more than one snake in your ear.
Fuck this guy.
Why listen
Sarcastic
to the
Rook all the
You've
way.
clearly got this handled.
That's enough from you. You tampered with a ritual that unleashed blight. You did not know what you were doing then, and you don't now.
If gods control the blight, we need to change how we approach it.
Archdemons control blight, and we'd sense if one had risen. We'd make the sacrifices needed to fight it.
But
The blight has increased. Now is not the time to lose focus. Wardens Evka and Antoine, are you sworn to combat the blight?
Yes, but...
Then report back to Weishaupt and do so.
Aren't the archdemons just the bound dragons of the
That went
of
poorly,
Inuris?
even for a talk with him.
Or are they like their dragon forms? I haven't really figured it out. The first warden is such a good voice. The voice acting in this game, quite good, I must say. Really good voice acting. They clearly got a lot of great people doing the work. He's an asshole.
What an asshole! More people are gonna die for his arrogance.
Maybe.
So much for convincing the wardens.
We can't give you the order, but you have us.
We'll keep tracking the Darkspawn and the Blight. We'll do what we can.
And if we learn the gods' plans, you will too.
Yay.
The elven god of monsters had been hard at work. She'd taken the Darkspawn and made them so much worse.
Kill a name. Early name.
Now, she and Elganon had their glorious new army. The risen gods were ready.
Doesn't.
And they had just the target.
That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. I don't like this at all. How many VAs are in this game? That's wild. There's a lot. You know, fantasy RPGs have come a long way since the days of, like, Oblivion,
Gavin,
you know?
I found feathers clogging my alembic this morning.
You have a feather pillow in your room? Mine's just straw.
Don't deflect. You know it was a son. He's unruly, messy.
He's still just a kid.
One who'll grow into an unruly, messy adult. How much damage might a full-grown griffin cause?
That's the idea. A darkspawn killer. I'm not raising a butler to serve me tea, Emmerich.
No, you'll need considerably more nurturing.
Don't take shots at Manfred. Manfred did nothing wrong. Okay, let's be nice to Manfred. Oh, that's right. I did the other one before, but it didn't quite do it. Now if I run over and I do that one, then they'll do something together. Here we go. Oh, there's one here too. Wow, I really didn't see this earlier. There we go. It's about as much as I can justify. Alright, now what happens if I do both of you? Hello? What's this? Yo. That's crazy. That's really good. Got a rarity increase on that item. And I bet if I just run around here, I can get over there. Whoa. There's something here too. Man. This is the staff I was using. Oh, that's so cool. That's so convenient. I'm so glad we did that. This is something that I've been saying about this game, is that it really feels like it's got, and I know that people would, I would get crucified for this if I said it in any other forum. So I'm glad I have you guys. But this game does that Dark Souls thing where like it puts enough really useful items consistently in places where you can like get to them, such that it incentivizes the exploration aspect of the game, if I'm saying that in a way that makes sense. Makes sense to me. I agree. Encouraging exploration is, in my opinion, good game design. Well, it certainly is useful game design, right? Depending on what you want the player to do, you know? Because obviously, like, if the choices that the player makes are not meant to have
the lighthouse has been wonderful
a huge amount of significance,
so
you know,
quickly
like you're playing a
these days.
visual novel or something.
But can
then
he fly like
maybe
a
it's all aesthetic.
He can open a door.
Hassan can track and kill darkspawn.
Are you guys competing as
I'd rather
parents?
Manfred learn to gather flowers.
Hassan can eat those flowers. He can also dive underwater and catch fish.
Manfred can be quiet and well-mannered.
Yeah? Well, you know, Hassan...
Go on.
You're raising your twin, Emmerich.
Well, I might say the same.